Football is a game of emotions, so naturally you'll always get to see grown men fight over petty things. While opponents tend to fight each other on the pitch now and then, it's quite uncommon to see teammates physically assault each other. And this is when Newcastle teammates Lee Bowyer and Kieran Dyer bucked the trend, deciding to fight in the middle of the pitch. The fight was so intense that their opponents had to calm them down. It's serious if the other team's players are doing that. Cause of the fight, Dyer intentionally chose not to pass the ball to Bowyer. Both men did get sent off for this childish display of masculinity. One of the most iconic, yet controversial images of World Cup history is of Zinedine Zidane walking past the World Cup trophy after being sent off for assaulting Italian centre-back Marco Materazzi in the 2006 final. The Frenchman was the star of the competition and single-handedly carried Les Bleus to the final. However, Materazzi managed to turn the tide in Italy's favour after winding up the legendary midfielder who seemed to be walking away. Without warning, Zizou turned around and headbutted Materazzi, and France eventually lost the final. Had Zidane kept a cool head, things could have been so much different. During United's dominance of the Premier League, Sir Alex Ferguson's men always had testosterone-fueled encounters with Arsenal. Players of both teams hated each other, and this hatred was boosted by the rivalry between Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira. In a 2003-04 game, Ruud van Nistelrooy received quite some kick from Vieira. The Frenchman was given his marching orders. In the final minute of the game, the Dutchman stepped up to take a spot kick, which he missed. Of course, the Gunners players were gonna mob him. The game ended in a 0-0 draw, and the London Giants went on to make history by becoming the only team in the Premier League to go an entire season unbeaten. The legendary Argentine was a wizard on the pitch and as feisty as a honey badger. During Maradona's time at Barcelona, it was Athletic Bilbao who were one of the stronger teams in the league. The two teams had a great rivalry, but this particular one turned spectacularly mental. Maradona was injured by a tackle from a Bilbao player a few months ago, and upon his return, he was once again being handled roughly by the Basque club's players. Eventually, Maradona had enough and retaliated. The Argentine legend knew how to stand up for himself and fought many of these guys without worrying about backup. What's the point of this video if we don't talk about the hotly contested games between Real Madrid and Barcelona? In the Supercopa de España, Barcelona were leading 3-2 with minutes left. Marcelo, clearly frustrated, decided to hack down Cesc Fabregas. The Brazilian was sent off, but his act had opened Pandora's box. A brawl ensued, with Mesut Ozil of all people losing his cool. Eventually, it was Ozil who received his marching orders, and the German was completely enraged by the decision. During the brawl, Jose Mourinho tried to fight for his own by poking Tito Vilanova. However, the late Catalonian coach managed to keep his cool. The 1962 World Cup game between these two is also called the Battle of Santiago. This was one of the most violent games in World Cup history. A Chilean player, Lionel Sanchez, who was the son of a professional boxer, decided to deliver a left hook to his opponent's face when he brought him down. Giorgio Farini was sent off for kicking his opponent. Mario David hit Sanchez with a flying kick to his head and was sent off. The game was more like a bar fight than a football game, but the Chileans didn't mind it one little bit since they won the game 2-0 and managed to teach the Italians a lesson for their derogatory pre-match report on their country. The 2015 Copa America encounter between these two sides would remain famous for all the wrong reasons. Neymar clashed with the Colombian players after the end of the game. He tried to headbutt Jason Murillo and almost got his ass handed to him by Carlos Bacca. Both men saw red for their clash, but this was the first time most of us saw Neymar really lose it. A 2007 Champions League round of 16 tie turned ugly when Inter and Valencia locked horns. A 0-0 draw meant that the Spaniards moved to the next stage. However, David Navarro started an ugly brawl after breaking Nicolas Bardisso's nose. The Spanish player was chased by the Italians, who were blindly throwing punches and kicks his way. Pretty much every player from both sides was charged by UEFA. Navarro was banned for 7 months because of his actions, while Burdisso got a 6-game ban for allowing his nose to be broken. The Battle of London. Tottenham were able to muster a 2-2 draw against Chelsea in a 2015-16 league game. After surrendering a 2-goal lead, Danny Rose tackled Willian, which started a massive brawl, highlighted by a fight between Chelsea's mean machine Diego Costa and Moussa Dembélé. Surprisingly, the referee didn't show anyone a red card. But this wasn't the end of it, because a few years later the managers of both teams nearly came to blows at full time. Antonio Conte and Thomas Tuchel approached each other for a traditional handshake, with Tuchel trying to twist Conte's arm. The Italian took exception to that, but thankfully, players and members of the coaching staff from both sides quickly intervened and avoided what should have been a cracker of a scrap between the two. Sergio Ramos has always been a hothead. During a 2010 El Clasico, where Madrid were thumped 5-0 by Barcelona at Camp Nou, the Spanish centre-back was shown a straight red card for fouling Lionel Messi. The tackle caused a scuffle between the two sides, and during the melee, Ramos decided to put his hands on the faces of his national teammates Xavi and Puyol. The latter was pushed to the floor by Ramos, but rather than making a big deal about it, Puyol walked it off. They call him a vampire, and for good reason. Before he became a legend at Liverpool and Barcelona, the feisty striker bit PSV Eindhoven's Otman Bakkal on the shoulder. For his actions, Suarez was banned for 7 games. But that didn't stop him from bearing down on his opponents, because 3 years after that incident, Suarez bit Branislav Ivanovic in a 2-2 draw against Chelsea. Funnily enough, the referee completely missed the incident. However, the FA came down hard on him and gave him a 10-game ban. Suarez loves a hat-trick, and this proved to be the case yet again. During the 2014 World Cup game against Italy, Suarez bit Giorgio Chiellini. The Italian tried to elbow Suarez in retaliation, but that wasn't good enough. So the world football's governing body decided to ban him for 9 international games. After further deliberation, he was also suspended from anything related to football for 4 months. Since then, Suarez has cleaned up his act and found chew toys that help him curb his proclivity to digging his teeth into human flesh. So guys, these were some of the instances when footballers lost their cool. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And before you leave, make sure to smash the like and subscribe buttons, turn on your notifications, and watch this next video. Till next time.